Hey 49ers fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into our weekly 49ers videos here on Chat Sports. A very special edition because we're getting into our very first 49ers mailbag where you guys send in all your questions on Twitter and YouTube, and I got them all listed right here. We're going to try to answer as many as we can. Again, for next week, at RealThomasMott on Twitter is the place to find me to ask all of those questions. You guys ready? Let's jump right into it with the first question on YouTube by Angel Cassiano. He asked, do you think Jimmy Garoppolo can win Comeback Player of the Year? Short answer, yes. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be one of about 5 to 6 players who will make a really strong run at Comeback Player of the Year. Obviously, coming back from that torn Achilles, we have to see how he's going to come back from that, because anything knee, Achilles related is always a tough overall injury to come back from. But if he's healthy, if he's good to go, which he will be, but just make sure. Remember those 2017 numbers in like 6 games, 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, the 67.4% completion percentage. This could be a big year for Jimmy Garoppolo. The only other thing that I'll say is that there are quite a few people who could still be up for Comeback Player of the Year as well. Look at a guy like Earl Thomas, who was injured in Seattle last year, now in Baltimore. That could be a good option at Comeback Player of the Year. Devontae Freeman for the Atlanta Falcons only played in 2 games last year with a hamstring injury. He's poised to have a massive year behind that newly retooled Falcons offensive line. And finally, even a guy like Cam Newton, who played most of the year but was injured with that shoulder, a big year from him could also mean Comeback Player of the Year. So obviously, it's definitely possible, and I hope that it actually happens, but there are other players who could also be poised to go ahead and make a run at Comeback Player of the Year. Just mentioned the good of Jimmy Garoppolo. Looks like codename Crescent Centaur on YouTube was asked, hey, listen, quote, should Garoppolo be put on the hot seat this season? So listen, people are already putting Garoppolo on the hot seat. You guys crazy? A lot of people down in the comments of this video will be like, what is this guy talking about? He's not in the hot seat. No, not in the hot seat this season, but this season has to be an improvement in terms of he must play all 16 games. That's the first step. Then 2020, 2021, we can start talking about him being in the hot seat. The only issue is of course, if you look at the, we'll throw up the graphics right now. Next 3 years, 2020, 2021, 2022, he's due about $25 million per year. So you're going to put him on the hot seat and do what with him? Cut him and have all that cap money thrown to you? Trade him? Who's going to pay that much money? So no, Jimmy Garoppolo is not in the hot seat. But it is important, I will say this, it is important to have him on the field for all 16 games, then we can really see what he's all about. We haven't seen a full 16-game season yet from Jimmy Garoppolo. Ashul Shah on YouTube asks, what ranking would you give the 49ers backfield? That's a great question. I mentioned this in one of my Rumors and News videos I think 2 weeks ago, where I think Pro Football Focus rated the 49ers, maybe it's SI.com, had them as the #1 backfield coming into the NFL. Listen, Tevin Coleman, Jerick McKinnon, Matt Breida, it's one of the best trios for sure. The only other ones that I can really, off the top of my head, think that would be in comparison, and again, it's a trio, not just a duo. The Pats with Sony Michel, Rex Burkhead, and now Alabama running back Damian Harris is also very good. And Philadelphia adding Jordan Howard from the Bears, drafting Miles Sanders from Penn State, and even having the undrafted free agent Josh Adams from Notre Dame, who was in last year and played very well. There are a lot of teams that have good running backs. My question is going to be, what does Jerick McKinnon give us this year from San Francisco? Obviously, you brought him in. He, to me, we know what Breida does, and we especially know how good Tevin Coleman was, 800 yards rushing last year for the Atlanta Falcons. McKinnon is kind of the, not the wild card, but I'm curious to see what he is able to deliver. I also mentioned, and I forgot to mention him, but the Lions as well. You look at Kerryon Johnson, Theo Riddick, and C.J. Anderson, another good trio of running backs. It's running back by committee, right? That's how the NFL works today. If you have 2, it's okay, but 3 is kind of the preferred number here. There are a lot of teams with good running backs, but hard pressed not to put the 49ers in the top 5 in terms of NFL backfields. How would you guys rate the 49ers backfield as a whole surrounding the entire NFL, right? Are they the best backfield in the NFL? Do you need to see a little bit? Are they 1, 2, 3, 4? Scroll down and put in the comments. I'm curious. I say they're probably top 5, for sure top 10, but let me know in the comments down below. Neil Smith on YouTube asks, what are your realistic expectations for where the 49ers will rank offensively and defensively this season? Well, listen, last year, 16th in offense, 20th in total defense. Those will both go up. right? The defense has got to go up. But if it doesn't go up from 20, then we're doomed for another top 5 pick. The defense, oh my goodness. 20 is even better than I thought it was in terms of looking at the stats from last year. 16th in offense, it's pretty good. Like, the 16th, it can go up, but how much further can it go up? I'd say realistically both in the top 15. I'd say the offense could probably get to, again, a realistic 10 or 12 overall, and then the defense could be somewhere in the 15 to 14 range. You know, listen, they're not going to make a massive jump to being the best team in the NFL. The defense is not going to go, I know the additions are there, but the backside, the secondary, is still a question mark. They're not going to go from 20th in total defense to 5th in total defense. It's just not going to happen. And as far as the offense is concerned, I don't think that they did enough in terms of wide receiver. I've said this on the show many times. Yeah, I really like who you guys were able to get, the 2 wide receivers in the draft, and then, you know, Jordan Matthews in free agency, but it's still not a... It's like a B- receiving core, and I wanted a B+, A- receiving core for Jimmy Garoppolo. So the offense will be better because Jimmy's going to be in there. But will it be top 5 better? Realistically, and that was the question there by Neo, probably not. Speaking of the secondary, Andy Gonzalez on YouTube asked, what do you think they're going, or who do you think they're going to add to the secondary? I'm assuming who they're going to go ahead and sign as a free agent. We really only have 2 options. We've said it many times on this show. Eric Berry's one of them. Trey Boston is another. If I could pick either of these 2, it would be Trey Boston. He's still in his 20s. He had 2 back-to-back years, Arizona and with the Chargers, that were really good. I have no idea why Trey Boston is unsigned. I think he might want too much money, but even now, it's like we've waited this long. Come back down to earth a little bit. Listen, the Niners have like, what, $30, $40 million in cap space. Trey Boston would be an excellent addition at the safety position. I like Eric Berry. The name is big. You know, obviously, he thought about his fight with cancer and coming back from it. He's a good player, but he's in his 30s, a little bit too old. So if I had to pick one, it would be Trey Boston. But listen, they need to get somebody, and I don't understand why we're sitting here waiting when you have 2 guys like that who you could actually go ahead and add. Next question, Kelly Helton on YouTube asked, why didn't the Niners get David Long Jr., the linebacker from West Virginia, in the draft when he was the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year? Kelly, listen, I can't answer that question. You got to go ahead and go to John Lynch's cell phone number, call up and be like, hey, John, what's up? David Long, good linebacker out of West Virginia, Defensive Player of the Year. I don't know what to say here. I have no idea who they went ahead and got. The way the draft boards work, they have different guys that ranked ahead of other people, and where it all fell, the Niners decided to go in a different direction, do a little more on the offensive side of the football there in rounds 2 and 3. I don't know. The answer, simple answer. Sometimes you just don't know the answer to it there, Kelly. David Herman on YouTube asks, what will the order of the NFC West be? So I'm assuming where are they going to finish at the end of the year. Listen, we can go full homer here and be like, oh, the Niners are going to win the NFC West, and it's going to be great. I'm a realistic guy. Let's be real here. The Rams are still the best team in the division. They still have a ton of talent. Now, Super Bowl hangover will be a real thing, but we've seen where you could, fall back to 9 wins and still be a good football team. Rams at 1. I will still put Seattle over the 49ers. I got to see Jimmy Garoppolo play a full season. I know what I'm getting out of Russell Wilson, even if he's not surrounded by a lot of elite guys. That could be a battle. Seahawks 9 wins, Niners sitting there 7, 8, 9 wins. It could be flip-flopped. And then Arizona at 4 if we're going to put San Francisco at 3. Here's what we need to remember. Just because we're all going to, the Cardinals with the #1 overall draft pick and, we want to put them down at 4, they have a ton of talent. David Johnson, Kyler Murray, Cliff Kingsbury, Christian Kirk, Larry Fitzgerald. They have Isaiah Isabella they drafted him this year in the draft. The offense is going to score a lot of points. We cannot just assume Arizona's going to be bad because they were bad last year. This could be a very quick turnaround in the Big Toaster there in Arizona. But right now, if I had to bet on it, I put the Rams at 1, Seahawks at 2, Niners at 3, and Cardinals at 4. Now, you guys, before you scroll down there and go, well, Thomas, not a homer, gotta put 49ers at 1. Here's the question, where do you guys see the 49ers finishing in the NFC West this year? Be honest with yourself. I know we like the improvements of the 49ers. I know we like Kyle Shanahan getting Jimmy Garoppolo back, the running backs, drafting wide receivers. Look around the NFC West, be honest with ourselves, and then scroll down and go ahead and tell me where you would put the 49ers. Keep going down here. Kevin Hernandez Jimenez says, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good do you think Jalen Hurd will be for the team and this West Coast scheme? Well, if you watch the show regularly, you know that I graduated from Baylor, and so I've seen many a Jalen Hurd games. Loved him whenever he transferred over there, from running back at Tennessee, and then coming over to play wide receiver. He has all of the skills. He has the size. He has the speed. He has the elusiveness from breaking tackles and moving around on the in the open field. The problem is route running, right? How good of a route runner is he really? We don't really know. Now, pair him up with Jimmy Garoppolo, give him a good, off season of training. He might become very, very good. In this scheme, he can be like an 8 or a 10. I think this year, we gotta, put a little fire on the expectations. This year, 5-6 would be my number out of 10. But going forward, I think he could be probably an 8 in terms of scheme fit for the Niners. I love this pick. I know a lot of people didn't like him taking him in the 3rd round, but I'm a big Jalen Hurd fan. Maybe I'm a homer, but I'm a very big Jalen Hurd fan. Jonathan Keller on YouTube asked, which rookie do you think is going to have a breakout season this year? Well, listen, there are a lot of rookies who have a potential for a massive year. Obviously, Nick Bosa could be an easy one to pick. Deebo Samuel, the wide receiver out of South Carolina, and Jalen Hurd, of course, would be my top 3 choices. Those are the top 3 picks. But in terms of who could have the breakout year, I'm actually going to go with Deebo Samuel over Nick Bosa, because Deebo Samuel can have the ball in his hands more. Now, obviously, Nick's playing defense. But it's been shown rookie defensive pass rushers don't necessarily have huge numbers. Look at a guy like Myles Garrett his first year, had 7 sacks overall? Bradley Chubb out of Denver is the only real pass rusher picked in the top 10 the past couple of years who had double-digit sacks. He had 12. Nick Bosa is going to be great. I love Nick Bosa. But in terms of rookie of the year, in terms of breakout season, Deebo Samuel will have more opportunities than Nick Bosa, just how the position works overall. Which cornerback do you think, this is by Brunel Jacobs, which cornerback do you think will lead the team in interceptions? Tough one. I'm actually going to go with Richard Sherman. Now, maybe that's too easy, or maybe that's not based on the injury. He's finally going to be playing at 100%, right? Last year, played at 80%. This year, he's going to be at 100%. Did have 0 interceptions last year, so he's probably, egging to get the ball in his hands. I think it will be Richard Sherman, but again, you sign Trey Boston, I might change my mind. I can be persuaded. You never know. Question here for you guys: which 49ers rookies do you see having a breakout year? And again, that one could go tie in with Richard Sherman's as well. Which cornerback do you think will have the most interceptions? We'll go and throw both of those graphics up here right now. Last one. Irfan Mirza, if I pronounced that one correctly on YouTube, says, do you see San Francisco trying to trade for Le'Veon Bell? Now, if you're wondering what that means, essentially, apparently after the Jets fired their GM and put Adam Gase in charge, the head coach, apparently Adam Gase does not like Le'Veon Bell. They don't like the money they've spent on Le'Veon Bell, and Gase might try and move Le'Veon Bell before the start of training camp. Do I think the Niners will trade for him? Well, first off, no, because they just went and signed Tevin Coleman, Jerick McKinnon. They have all these running backs here, so there's no room. You can't have 4 of them. And 2, we forget that he's guaranteed, $27 million over the course of his deal? I know he could spend that in Niners land, but it's just a lot. I think you had your shot at him. I think he wanted too much, and John Lynch said, nope, too much, moved on. I put Le'Veon Bell in the back mirror, like we always did with Odell Beckham and Antonio Brown as well. Now, as far as will he be moved? You never know. There's a team out there that's interested. The problem, again, $27 million guaranteed is a heck of a lot of money. There you go. I went through as many questions as I could for you guys in this video. This will become a weekly occurrence here on Chat Sports. So, as always, get your questions with the hashtag 49ers down below, and I will try and answer as many as I can in the next video. For Chat Sports, I am Thomas Mott signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day.